Two new bills look to protect Kentuckians who receive SNAP benefits during federal shutdowns. The bills were filed to ensure that Kentucky families don't lose their access to SNAP benefits if the federal government temporarily stops or delays payments during a federal shutdown or a funding lapse. Senate Bill 135 and House Bill 522 would establish a time-limited process that allows the governor to intervene and prevent interruptions in food assistance while requiring the Commonwealth to seek reimbursement once the federal funding resumes. The bill's authors say the bills are intended to protect against federal instability that places states and families in difficult positions, they say, through no fault of their own.